What's up, traders? Going 4 for 4 today. Let's get to it. All right, traders. So as always, if you want to watch any of these trades live, except for HX and except for ORPH today, because both of those happened one before the stream and one after the stream. But if you want to watch any of the trades from the live streams that I do every single day, feel free to head over to the Twitch channel and check those out under the highlights section. So HX, this one was a little bit of a disappointment. I literally sat down on my computer right after getting home from dropping my oldest off at the bus stop. And as you can see, it went up to, I know it was a little bit over 5. We got up to 518 and it started to shoot back down. The bid was at 5 when I tried to hit the ask at 508 for 100 shares and it filled me 5 shares. So a little bit frustrating. We ended up making 24 cents on the 5 shares that we had, but at 100 shares, that would have been 24 bucks, which would have been a nice start to the day before the bell even rang. So a little frustrating we didn't get filled, but I wasn't about to pay the 8-cent spread on a $5 stock, especially in pre-market, and especially because it was real close to possibly going through a double top area. So I was looking to be a little bit more careful with it. But anyways, yeah, a little disappointing that we didn't get our full shares there because it would have been a good start to the day. Our first real trade of the day was on GSAT. This one was close to the bell as well. You can see it kind of pushed up, and then we finally, it was kind of grinding here, pushed up here. I don't even think I pulled this up at this point, but it came up on the scanner. I believe it was at the top of this candle. It tried to pull back, and then I watched it take off, and it got up to 182. And or 183, I believe. Basically top ticked this thing. We got filled at 182 for 200 shares. Tried to scale out of this, looking to see if it wanted to try to come back down to this previous resistance, or at least even give us that 50% around that 170, 171 area. And we just couldn't get it. It just started to go back up. You can see it formed this candle here. It did try to push back down, and I said if it broke that candle, I would get out because the odds are it's trying to curl. It's going to go try to test high of day. And that's the end of the trade for me. What it does after the pullback, I don't really care. Yes, I tried to hold because we didn't really have too much size in this, and I thought we could get more out of the move. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and we ended up taking it off. Yes, it did go high of day. It did reject, and it did fade afterwards, but it could have easily have went through high of day and up to $2. And I even said on the live stream, if it was willing to break out and go up into the 190s, I was willing to start this again. However, that wasn't the case. So it is what it is. On to the next trade, which was Skills. This one was a pretty standard one. Had a big pop within its range down here based off of what it did at the bell. Came consolidated up here, went a little bit higher. And I was hoping it would go up through 9 to like 920. But as you've noticed, that just doesn't happen lately. We're not getting those extra pushes. And clearly felt the jiggle here at 893. Our entry was 891 as we watched it jiggle. And we got the flush back down to that previous resistance that was being used as support. And as you can see, it bounced right off of it and went high of day. You know, again, after the pullback, I don't care what it does. ORF, this was a late midday para that went straight into a halt. And I was just telling David that I believe we kind of got lucky on this one because when it did alert on the scanner, it was as it was halting. So the fact that we had absolutely no chance to even start this thing before the halt ended up, I think, possibly saving us a headache. And as you can see, out of the halt, I wish I did have this one live because you'll see it actually dipped all the way to 5 and then started to come back up. And it was really struggling around this 515, 520 area. And so I started it and I thought I got up towards 520, but I got a 513 fill. It was obviously real jumpy coming out of the halt with all that volume. And right after I got in, it did try to go through 5 again. And I was looking for closer down here to 475 for the cover based off of where it currently was. But then it decided to try to go higher. Originally, I didn't want to get an ad until through 550, but it went up to 544 and just absolutely got slammed. It just could not go any further. So when I noticed that, I jumped in as soon as I recognized it was falling from that area. Got filled at 534, came straight down. We put an order out at 515 for half, and it filled us. And I put the other half, I think it was at like 484 or something like that, expecting the flush through 5. But as you can see, we didn't get that. It actually ended up going all the way back up to high of day and trying that 550 area, and I was perfectly okay with it. Had a decent average, no real pullback yet based off of the move that it made. And if it wanted to go up through 550, I was ready to scale into it and try to kick its butt on the backside. So it went up, tried 550, didn't even get to it. Got to 549 and got absolutely slammed again, wondering, if it was kind of the same people. Who really knows? But maybe it's just one last little cash grab. It would make sense. You get these bigger people, a big move like this, that 544 got slammed down. They could have had a big order out. They covered it all into the wash and then got it back up, looking for that liquidity grab one last time, knowing that this thing is probably going to go back down, especially if, they know how to work it back down, all that good stuff. And, basically go back to the well, that second time. So, it came down, we got most of it out, right around that $5 area. I was really hoping for the gap fill for the rest, but as you can see, we're just now getting to that as it trickled down. Well, I mean, it did kind of come down to it at first, bounce, and then came back down again. And so, yeah, it looks like it did finally fill it, 55, 59, yeah. So it finally filled it over here. I was really expecting after this consolidation here, pretty nice descending triangle here, that when this flushed, it was going to flush, and it just didn't. As you can see, it did kind of stall out. It did give us a little bit more. I had an order at 471, so go figure. It went to 472. And right after that, it did eventually work its way down, but did try to hold its own here is what I was trying to get at. I don't know. I feel like I sound like I'm out of it. I am kind of tired. Another slow day, $36. Our goal is 100 at the moment. But I did just tell David too. I'll read this right off Discord. I said, side note, remember when I was at $30 a day and I was struggling just to get that? I just realized that the last 2 days I made just over $30 and felt like it was a slow ass day. Just saying. And, it just goes to show you it's the process, right? It never was about the money when I was only trying to make $30 a day. It was about the process. So the fact that we're up here, the money still doesn't really faze me when it comes to the daily. It's just more about it's almost more not letting the money faze me. That is the problem, more so than the worry of losing too much money, if that makes sense. But again, I was also talking to David about how besides ORF, a lot of these other trades, all it takes is that para, like what if this went, we started this here and it went up to 2 and then it ends up halting, goes into 3. Like that's the kind of stuff that would happen on a daily basis for the most part. Same with HX. These ones would run, up to $6. Skills, this one would run up to $10. Like those would happen. And right now we're just not getting any of that. And we're not having to fight anything. A lot of stuff is just working. And that's the problem, is I'm using smaller size because I'm almost waiting for those ones that do go the extra bit that we're so used to when the market's hot, because I don't want to start scaling up and getting caught in the ones that do that. And then it's like almost immediate max loss and there's nothing I can do about it just because there's one that finally went, when in reality, this whole time, these were just slower moves and that's just kind of the market we're in. So I'm really stuck between a rock and a hard place with that, because just this morning on the stream, I was talking about doing the exact opposite, where I want to try to recognize the market that we're in and play based off of that. And basically it would be my job to realize when the market's picking back up and start to kind of go back the other way. And it's like, how do you do that? Because you just wait till you hit a max loss and then you're like, oh, market's kind of picking back up kind of thing. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at the moment with that, because it does get frustrating when you're trying to make a certain amount and you can't even get halfway there on a daily basis, just because you're not really getting the opportunities that you're used to. So that's all I got. A little bit of a longer video. Sorry about that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate the support. If you do have any questions or comments, leave them down below, or you can find me on Discord, find me on Twitter, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.